Today I'm doing a request for the fanfic Bleach Volume 75, which was originally created by Ninten Dolphin and is around 28,000 words. So the fanfic basically concerns the end of Bleach and what happens after, and basically tying up all the loose ends to the characters that didn't really get an ending in the original because of how abruptly the original Bleach manga ended. Now, it's been a while since I read Bleach, so going into it I didn't really remember any of the characters or storylines. I'd basically completely forgotten everything. But despite that, this fic definitely made me remember all the different characters. I felt like I was watching One Piece again with all of the different characters. I've completely forgot how many characters that Bleach had. It just kept going and going and going. The character writing for all the characters seemed to be mostly on point. A lot of the characters seemed to be very on model from how they acted in the original. I could even imagine watching some of these scenes with these character interactions in the actual anime, so that has to count for something. But I did have to look up a few of the characters because I completely forgot people like Omaida, or even the Vizards and the Fullbringers even existed, because they ended up not really being all that important. But they truly gave an ending to every character, from the most obscure Soul Reaper to the most unliked group of characters. And I love stuff that concerns character and character interaction. There isn't really any fighting, but that's fine to me. I'm fine with just characters interacting and their own stories, because for me, that can carry an entire show, is just the characters and their interactions. I focus a lot less on the plot than I do on the characters. So in that regard, this was a nice thing to read. There was also a decent amount of both canon and non-canon ships, and I don't really remember which ones were canon and which weren't, because some of the characters I barely even remembered to begin with, much less who they were originally in a relationship with. There's a lot of ships are changed around. Like in this fic, the creator decided to put Rukia and Ichigo together, which I don't really care either way, because I understand why people wanted Ichigo to be with Rukia, but I was completely fine with him and Orihime. The whole story is pretty easily understandable, and it literally has every Soul Reaper in it from the entirety of the series. I'm pretty sure. There's some names that I still don't remember who they were. It goes through every captain, like Kuretsuchi recreating Nemu, Captain Unohana's death, Rukia and her sadness over Captain Ukitake's death and her becoming a captain herself, and then the Vizards rejoining their old squads. You have everyone from Renji to Kenpachi Zaraki to Komamura. Everybody from Rengiku to Momo, everybody has their own moment. Of course, the main plot is about Ichigo going to see Shunsui, and then him telling Ichigo that Rukia wants him to be her lieutenant. Which is interesting, but I don't really personally see Ichigo ever leaving the world of the living to fully become a Soul Reaper. I just don't think it would fit, even though I get that it was, one, because Ichigo really felt lost without his Soul Reaper powers and felt like he was only really good at being a Soul Reaper, and two, because they wanted to obviously put him with Rukia, so they couldn't have him and her in two separate worlds. But I just still don't ever think he would have taken that deal, but it's fine for a concept of a fanfiction. It kind of just made me realize why they didn't have Ichigo with Rukia to begin with, because it would have caused him to have to leave his own world, or she would have had to leave hers, and it would have been really complicated. I didn't mind any of the other ships, canon or not, like them putting Renji with Tatsuki, which I guess they had to put him with someone considering Rukia's taken. I also like that they kept the comedic dynamic between Ichigo and his father. It really felt like all of the comedic beats and all of like the original comedy from Bleach was in this fanfic. I feel like it definitely was made by someone who really loved the series and really tried their best to put their ideas and headcanons and keep it as close to the original as possible. The only two questionable characters were Uyu and Orihime, because obviously Orihime was in love with Ichigo. So she confesses to Ichigo, and obviously because Ichigo is going to be with Rukia in this fic, he rejects her. Which then leads to this really weird set of events that she ends up getting with Uyu literally hours after Ichigo rejected her. It just all seemed a little bit iffy to me because this crush that she had had on Ichigo for such a long time, I understand her moving on, I can believe that, but her then getting with Uyu literally a few hours later and then pretending that she's completely moved on, that just didn't work for me. Because I can work with Uyu being in love with Orihime from the very beginning, and now that she's not going to be with Ichigo, him making a move, that I can believe. I cannot believe that she got over Ichigo that easily and then decided that she was going to date Uyu the same day. That is just, makes her seem so incredibly shallow, like she wanted to be with anyone. She was just desperate to be with absolutely anyone, she didn't care who. But of course, I'm not a very good judge of ships. I'm not a big fanfic reader in general, but that's just my 2 cents. Overall, I thought it was a very like wholesome little fic. Clearly, the creator cared a lot about the series, and I think all of the character work is mostly very well done. I like the character interactions. I thought it was pretty good. I thought that they definitely researched a lot when making it. I feel like it'd be enjoyable for most people, especially people who wanted Ichigo to be with Rukia. So I'd recommend the fanfic Bleach Volume 75 to anyone who doesn't really care about fighting and cares more about character interaction and hated the end of Bleach. Personally, I thought it was a nice short little read that ties everything up into a bow, and honestly my complaints are quite minimal because I don't really care about the ships to begin with. I could tell there was a lot of love put into this fic, so I definitely like and appreciate it for what it is, and I think that it's worth checking out. Honestly, I thought it was very nice, and it's not very long either. At least it's not very long to me. Although after watching One Piece, I don't think that there's really anything that I consider long anymore. Anyway, that's it for this video. Thank you for the video recommendation. I hope I did this fanfic some justice. Again, I'm not really a fanfic reviewer. I hope I said enough. And that's it. Bye.